Tonight, when the sun goes down, you might step outside and look up. The sky fills with points of light. You know they are far away, but your brain has no idea how far. It was never built to. The nearest star beyond the sun sits about 25 trillion miles away. You hear the number? You nod. But it slides past your mind like water past a stone. You feel nothing close to its true size. That gap between the number and the feeling is not a flaw. It is a fossil, a leftover piece of a brain built for a much smaller world. So why can't you feel the size of the universe? The answer starts inside your own skull, in a part of your brain barely the size of a grape. For most of human history, distance meant something you could walk. A valley, a ridge, a day's journey to the next river. Your ancestors needed to judge how far a predator stood, how long it would take to reach water. Their brains evolved to measure space in footsteps and hours, not light years. Neuroscientist Stanislas Dehaene has spent decades studying how the brain handles numbers. You are born with a rough sense for quantity, but it only works for small amounts. Show someone 3 dots and 5 dots, and they instantly know which is more. Show them 3,000 and 5,000, and that feeling disappears. The brain switches from feeling to calculating. Now stretch that across the universe. The Milky Way holds an estimated 200 billion stars. The observable universe holds roughly 2 trillion galaxies, each packed with hundreds of billions of stars. The number gets so large it stops behaving like a number. It becomes a sound your mouth makes without your mind ever following it to the end. This is why scientists shrink the universe to something your body can stand inside. Shrink the sun to a basketball, and Earth becomes a grain of sand circling it across a parking lot. Even this barely works. The true distance still slips away. In 1990, Voyager 1 photographed Earth from nearly 4 billion miles out. Earth appears as a single pale dot, smaller than a pixel. Every person you've ever known, every war, every ordinary Tuesday happened on that dot. Even the photograph can't make your nervous system feel the distance behind it. Your brain fails to grasp time the same way. When you look at a star, you see light that left it years ago, sometimes millions of years ago. Sunlight takes 8 minutes to reach your face. Andromeda, the nearest large galaxy, sits 2.5 million light years away. So it's light left before modern humans existed. Your brain smooths all of this into one simple, present tense sky. This blind spot isn't unique to space. Try imagining $1 billion or 1 million deaths. Psychologists call this scope insensitivity. A story about one person in danger moves you to tears. A statistic about 1 million barely moves you at all. One face your brain can hold. 1 million faces collapse into a blur. The universe is the most extreme version of this glitch, because feeling never had to evolve past the size of a valley, a herd, a horizon. So can anything close that gap? Researcher Frank White studied the psychology of spaceflight and named what astronauts describe after seeing Earth from orbit: the overview effect. The planet shrinks to a single blue marble. Borders disappear. Many astronauts report an overwhelming shift in perspective, sometimes tears, sometimes a long silence no one expected. For a moment, the feeling catches up to the fact that everything they've ever loved exists on one small, fragile dot. You don't need a rocket to brush against that feeling. Psychologist Dr. Keltner has spent years studying awe and found that brief encounters with vastness, a mountain range, a dark sky, an ocean, measurably shift how people think. People who experience awe feel smaller, yet more connected and more generous. In one study, people who looked up at tall trees later behaved more helpfully toward a stranger than those who hadn't. Your brain doesn't need the real number. It only needs the feeling of something larger than itself. So maybe the question was never why you can't comprehend the universe. Maybe it's why you would ever need to. Your ancestors survived by understanding each other, by reading a face across a fire. not by understanding galaxies. Evolution sharpened your mind for a world you could touch and walk across, not one you could only calculate. And yet here you are, a creature built for valleys and firelight, somehow capable of measuring the age of starlight, of standing smaller than a grain of sand on a cosmic beach, still asking quietly, what is all of this? That tension between a brain too small to feel the universe and a mind large enough to study it anyway might be the strangest part of being human. So tonight, when you step outside and look up, you don't have to feel the true size of what you're looking at. No one can. Not the astronomer with the equations, not the astronaut who watched Earth shrink to a marble, but you can still stand there, in the dark, under light older than memory, and let yourself feel small for a moment. Not because you failed to understand the universe, but because, for once, your feelings finally caught up to the truth.